In today's video, we're going over my town, and that is Spokane, Washington. Spokane is a city located in eastern Washington. It's sort of the hub of eastern Washington and North Idaho for that Spokane metropolitan statistical area. We're on the opposite side of the state from Seattle. We're about a 6-hour drive away from Seattle. We're the second largest city in the state of Washington, so we have more people than Tacoma. But much like over there on that west side, Tacoma to Seattle is one ginormous neighborhood. When you look at Spokane, you've got Spokane, Spokane Valley, Liberty Lake. All of that is just one ginormous continuous area, neighborhood. Similar. Spokane really was started, earliest people here were in 1810, but really got its speed up and started getting populated back in 1881 when the railroad came through and they really started building the town. You can find a lot of houses in Spokane built in those early 1900s. That's a big history here on the South Hill and in central Spokane. It's very commonplace to find a house that was built in 1907, 1914, things like that. So we do have a long and rich history. The first people here were the Spokane tribe Native Americans, and there's a big history of that here in this area. That's something that's fun to research if you're into the history of the area of the Spokane Native American tribes, how this area came about. The Spokane Coeur d'Alene War, that's real. That happened a long time ago. The army came in, a bunch of people died. But anyway, so that's a little bit about the history of Spokane. Not too much, but we're a big city now in eastern Washington. It's been here since the late 1800s. We're definitely the hub of education and healthcare and basically employment for this big area. You have Fairchild Air Force Base is really big out here. Eastern Washington, Central University. And we're also a big hub for the learning and university systems. We have medical schools here, nursing schools and all that. You would find all that here if you're looking up the major schools and institutions in this area. From, Eastern Washington University is going to have campuses here. You're going to have the medical school stuff coming over from Western Washington, University of Washington, things like that. So looking here on the map, you can see this is the state of Washington right here in the middle. Seattle, Tacoma is over on this side. Like I said, around 5.5 to a 6-hour drive away. Spokane, this is us right here in Spokane. This is the Idaho border where my mouse is going down here. If you live here in Spokane, you're going to be over here in Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls area quite often. That's pretty common. Now let me show you what it would take to drive around in Spokane time-wise. So you can see right here to drive from downtown Spokane out to Spokane Airport, that's only a 9-minute drive. It's 6.5 miles. Now, if you were to drive from downtown Spokane to Spokane Valley, you can see right here, it's only a 15-minute drive. And you can see right here, if you were to go from downtown Spokane again over to Coeur d'Alene, you're at a 34-minute drive, 33 miles. Traffic isn't that big of a deal here like you have in those bigger areas. So this commute here, if you left at 5 o'clock, right at the peak of rush hour, and you wanted to head over to Coeur d'Alene, I would add about 15 minutes to this route, not even that much. You're going to get caught up right here on I-90 just a little bit where you can see my mouse is. Usually you'll lose 5 or 7 or 8 minutes right here if it's really bad. And then also right here in Liberty Lake, this area right here, you'll lose a few minutes. That gets really piled up going east towards Coeur d'Alene around that rush hour. So if you hit that, you might hit an extra 5 minutes right there, maybe, or 7 or 8 minutes again. Of course, you can do the trick, and that's exit the freeway at Spokane Valley right here and avoid some of that traffic and hop back on the freeway in Liberty Lake if you want. But realistically speaking, you guys, the traffic here is not that big of a deal. I joke around that it's a half an hour really to get to anywhere from Spokane. I live in North Spokane, so I live about 20 minutes on 5 Mile, 20 minutes from downtown Spokane. It's called 5 Mile because it's 5 miles from downtown. And really, I'm anywhere within 30, 35 minutes. Like my office is in Spokane Valley by the mall. And from my house out to there, I'm looking at a 35-minute drive almost every single morning. That's what it takes me. It's not that bad. If there's a little traffic, sometimes you can add a couple minutes to that. But that's because there'll be maybe road construction or an accident. Not just normal traffic, is fine here. It's not like in Denver where I moved from or Seattle where I used to live that has traffic that's just a solid stop. We don't have that here. Even city traffic flows really nicely. And I show this picture here, right here. This is Leavenworth. This is a live cam from Leavenworth. Leavenworth is a couple hours west of Spokane, between Spokane and Seattle. If you're looking at this video from out of state and you're wondering just some cool things to do around Spokane if you wanted to drive a little bit, of course, you're going to go to Idaho and Coeur d'Alene and all that. Maybe up to Sandpoint. That's really fun. But eventually you're going to get to Leavenworth. It's a cool little Bavarian town in the center of the state, right in the mountains. This is I love these live cams. I have these up on my screens. It's like a window that I have to these beautiful mountains. This is one of the cams. Let me show you another one. There's another one of the town. Look at those old cool buildings. And this is a live cam, you guys, right now. We're January 29th, 2023. Isn't that cool? Look at this town. Let me pull up one more cam. And there's another view of Leavenworth. Look at those mountains. This is so amazing over there. I just had to pump this. I really had to show this to you guys. This is just so neat. I will leave links in the description to all 3 of these live cameras for Leavenworth if you want to basically sit in your office and watch a beautiful view out the most amazing window in Washington State. I'll have those links in the description below. Now, back to Spokane. You want to talk about the population of Spokane. We have around 240,000 people in the city of Spokane. If you add in Spokane Valley, you've got about another 250 to 270,000 people. So you're around 600,000 when you look at the numbers, just under 600,000 for this side of the state before you get to Idaho. But really, what's called the Spokane Metropolitan Statistical Area, that's this general populous area that you would be interacting with for business or commute or work or shopping, is going to include Kootenai County over in Idaho. And if you include Kootenai County, that's 170,000 people plus 171, I think, something like that. So you're in the mid 750s, almost 800,000 people, sort of between 750 and 800,000 people in this general area. Now, this is from the census.gov website. 5.6% of people are under 5 years old. People under 18 is 21% of the population. 65 and over is 15% of the population. 56.9% of all housing is owner-occupied in Spokane. And we have 94,000 households with 2.32 people per household. Welcome to my channel, you guys. My name is Brian Johnson. I'm a real estate broker right here in Spokane with Windermere Valley, Liberty Lake. If you have any questions about real estate, my contact information is right here. Don't be shy about reaching out. My YouTube clients might call me all the time and reach out. Feel free to do that. If you want to leave a comment down below, I'll answer it there, or my email, text, send me a message, whatever you need. If you need information on buying or selling in this area. Also, I have a really nice guide to buying a home and a guide to selling a home. And in this guide, it'll give you all the information that you need if you're thinking of buying a house here. It's a free download. I don't even ask for your email address. It's a direct download. So I'll leave that download for the buyers and sellers guide. The links will be in my description, and I'll put them as a pinned comment as the first comment down below also. Now, I do like to look at these third-party sources for grading an area. I can't give a grade on the area. I'm a realtor. I can't really say, oh, this is a great this or this is a great that. I sell houses, not people. I sell houses, not neighborhoods. But we can look at third-party sources grading of an area. And this is called niche.com, and this is the grading they give for Spokane. This is in the city of Spokane, so it's not necessarily county-wide. But I wanted to give you something here to look at. The overall niche grade for Spokane is a B+. You can see for public schools, they give us a B+. They give us a B- for housing. I don't know what good for families means, B+, a B for jobs, B- for cost of living, probably because our housing has increased so fast in the last few years. We've gone up 30-40% just in the last few years when you add up the appreciation. So that is a problem here. The rents are shooting up also. When real estate prices are going up, rents went up right with it. We're seeing a softening in prices over the last year. I'll get to that in a few minutes when I talk about real estate. And we're going to see a softening in those rents also. Outdoor activities, they give us an A, as they should, because the outdoor life here is amazing. I joke around all the time with people. We have 60 boatable lakes within 60 miles of downtown Spokane. So if you like water, you like waterfront, you like boating, and all of those activities on water, you've got plenty of opportunities for that here. Now, they give us a C for crime and safety, and I really don't blame them. I don't live in worry of crime where I live, work, or play myself, but I know there's areas in Spokane that aren't so great, and you have a higher crime level. I will say when you look into the details of our crime here, it's a lot of property crime. So we do have a lot of drug addiction and that sort of thing going on. And that's going to lead to a lot of property crime, car break-ins, that sort of thing. I'm not digging into details of statistics on crime. If you really want to know that, the violent crime stats or any of those weird, crazy ones like that, you can look into that. It's pretty easy. But I do know when we get that higher crime score here, if you do look at those stats, you'll see the property crimes are where they're really high. They give us an A- for nightlife. I totally disagree with that. I think Spokane is pretty boring and there's not much going on at night. After 8 o'clock, there's just a few, you'll have bars open, but other than that, there's not a lot going on in Spokane for nightlife. So I would check that right there. But I guess if you're comparing it to the overall area of Eastern Washington, then yeah, absolutely Spokane has nightlife. Diversity, a B+, that's a joke. I really am not even going to get into that one here. B for weather, because we have awesome weather. We're not like Seattle. We don't rain nearly as much as that. We're way sunnier than that, but we have had some really cold and snowy winters as we're having right now. So beware of that. If you're thinking of moving here, you definitely want a four-wheel drive, or don't definitely want a four-wheel drive, but you want a sturdy car because you're going to have a lot of a lot of snow in the winter. It doesn't stick around literally all winter long, but you're going to get a lot of ice. And Spokane roads are pretty crappy, actually. I think our city government really does hate us, and they must hate themselves because they have to live on the same roads we do, but they refuse to fix it. So we do have really bumpy roads. If you're into biking and you want to do road biking, this is not the town for you. You'll just go nuts with these roads, honestly. So yeah, we don't have a lot of traffic. That's a huge bonus. Our roads are kind of iffy. Yeah, that's the drawback to that, no traffic. And they give us an A for commute. And certainly I would agree with that, having lived in both Denver and Seattle. Like I said, you can get anywhere in town for about 30 minutes, in less than 30 minutes. So commute-wise, that's great. But public transportation is woefully lacking in this area. I call it the drive town. You're going to be driving everywhere you want to go in a car. You just are. You can take the bus. It's not that great. You're going to end up driving everywhere you want to go. Now, for recreation, Riverside State Park is huge. That's a state park, not a city park. That's on the Spokane River, Little Spokane River. That would be on the west side of the city of Spokane. It is about 9,100 acres. It has horseback riding. It has outdoor recreational vehicle riding. That would be powered. That's really cool if you're into the powered recreational vehicles. Obviously, lots of hiking. It's along the river with the bowl and pitcher, so you've got river activities also in there. Riverside State Park is amazing. It's huge, and it's really accessible because it's super close to Spokane. Now, the other one is the Centennial Trail. The Centennial Trail starts way up Long Lake, north of 9 Mile area. If you just look on the map, you can find the beginning of the Centennial Trail. That's about a 40-mile trail. It's paved all the way down through downtown Spokane, all the way to the Idaho border. Then it continues for the Idaho portion of it, I think another 30 miles into Idaho. But our portion of it's huge, it's long, people love it. You can't take any powered vehicles on there, but you can take everything that's not powered, walking, bicycles, things like that. It's a long ride if you wanted to do the whole thing, so get your electric bike out for that. So it starts up here on the west side, up on the left, and you can see how it wanders down through the woods and the mountainy areas down here. It goes through downtown Spokane, through Gonzaga. Then you go through Spokane Valley, down through Liberty Lake, and you end up over here on the Idaho border. 40-mile trail. Don't miss it. If you like that kind of thing, it's awesome. Now, people ask me about schools, and I certainly can't rate schools because I don't sell schools and I don't do that. But I do have kids in schools. And I think like a lot of people are complaining about public schools in general, so I'm not going to add to and pile on that. You can do your own research on what's going on there. But going here to greatschools.org, I wanted to show you guys the ratings we get. So here's the list of the top 5 elementary schools they're giving the ratings for in Spokane. You can look at those if you would like to. I'll just leave them here on the screen. You can look at those titles there if you want to do some more research. Maybe pause the video and you can look that up. Now here we go for the same ratings for the middle schools. And they're listed right here. You can look those up again if that's what you want to look for. Again, this is greatschools.org. I'll leave a link in the description below. And here's their ratings for top high schools in the area. Like I said, like on the others, I'll just leave this on the screen right here for a minute if you want to pause it so that you can do your own further research on schools. Now, shopping in Spokane, we've got a couple of malls. Downtown Spokane, the Riverside mall down there. It's a nice mall. That's kind of your nicer swanky mall with the Nordstrom and the really nice movie theaters. It does have parking. It's a nice mall. So if you want that nice mall experience, go down there, park in the mall, and then you can walk across the street to Riverfront Park. That's really neat. They have the gondola down there. They have ice skating in the winter times. You definitely want to check that out, that park. It's really cute. And then the other mall in Spokane is going to be up in North Spokane, a little bit on Division on the main road. That's going to be Northtown Mall. It's not quite as nice and swanky, but it's just your sort of generic mall. Like what you would expect with, a lot of vacancies and some, middle of the road retailers and stuff. It's okay. If you need something like Barnes & Noble, that's where I'd pop out. Now, if you wanted that other mall experience, then I'd head out to Spokane Valley. Spokane Valley Mall, just right off the freeway. Similar to our Northtown Mall. Maybe it's just a little bigger. I don't know. I'm just eyeballing it from my experience of walking around there. I'm not really a mall person. I shop mostly online like most people. That's why there's vacancies at both these malls. But that's the other one in the valley. And they have a lot of restaurants around there like the Red Robin. And I've heard from multiple sources this Red Robin in Spokane Valley is the highest grossing Red Robin in the world. I'd really like some verification of that. So if any of you know the answer to that, leave a comment in the description or the comment down below and let me know if that is really true. But as for other shopping, big box retailers, you're going to find those in North Spokane. You're going to find some of those out in Airway Heights. You're going to find some of, and you're going to find a lot of that in Spokane Valley. That's where you're going to find your big box shopping. Spokane Valley doesn't have a downtown. It just has, commercial, industrial, and housing. So that's, that's over there for a lot of shopping. If you wanted to do that sort of nicer, higher end shopping, honestly, you're going to head over to Seattle for that. This is just a place that doesn't have that really swankier high end shopping. It's just the nature of the area. So that's going to be a 6-hour drive to Seattle or a quick flight over there if you want to do that. In today's video, we're going over Spokane Valley, Washington. We're going to go over the commute. We're going to go over the housing. We're going to go over the parks. We're going to go over the geography. We're going to go over the stats. If you were thinking of moving here to Spokane Valley or just in the Spokane area and you're wondering what's going on that community just to the east of the city of Spokane, well, this video, we're going to go over that. My name's Brian Johnson, and I'm a real estate broker right here in Spokane Valley. My office is in the Valley with Windermere. If you have any questions about real estate, if you want to list, you want to buy, you want to look at some houses right here in the Valley, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me a message. I'm helping my YouTube clients every single day. I get reach outs all the time. And I'll tell you, my YouTube clients are my favorite clients. So if you're thinking about doing something, give me a call. So Spokane Valley is it's a newer city in Washington, actually. It used to be just a suburb of Spokane. It lies just to the east of Spokane, right? Havana is the street the borderline. So it really is a housing across the street from each other. One is in Spokane, one is in the Valley. So used to be a giant suburb, unincorporated Spokane County, but now it's Spokane Valley, the city. And let me show you where it's at right here on the map. So looking here at this Google map, you can see on the left-hand side in general, over here is Spokane, and over here is Spokane Valley. Right here on the left side, if you can see where my mouse cursor is the border. That's going to be Havana. And over here on the right side, that is not a street border. That's just a line drawn right in the middle of nothing. And then you have the freeway right here that separates the north side and the south side of the freeway. So if you live here in the Valley, one thing you can see is basically we have one freeway. We have I-90. Goes from Seattle to Chicago, I think, or something, and it cuts right here through the middle of the valley. And right along the corridor of the freeway along here is all the commercial real estate and all the industrial for sure. Then you have some streets along here, Sprague and Broadway, and they're sort of, they have a lot of things on there. Car dealers and bars and gas stations and some big box retailers, and there's some housing on these streets, but these are busy corridor streets. So if you live here in the Valley, you're going to be using I-90 to get either to your fun times in Coeur d'Alene or Liberty Lake, or you're going to be using I-90 to get over here to Spokane. So you can see here, if you were to drive from the Valley to downtown Spokane, it's only 13 minutes. And from the Valley to Spokane International Airport, it's only a 20-minute drive. And you can see right here, from the Valley to downtown Coeur d'Alene is only 27 minutes. Spokane Valley to Hayden Lake or Hayden, Idaho, where Triple Play is, a fun place that you're going to want to go if you have little ones in your group of people living in a house together. Certain things I can't say anymore. So that's a 34-minute drive. And as an alternate, if you live in the Valley and you want to go to Silverwood Theme Park, with or without your kids, and Boulder Beach Water Park is also at Silverwood Theme Park, that's only a 40-minute drive from the Valley. And if you're getting really ambitious and you want to go to Sandpoint and Lake Pend Oreille, maybe you want to go water skiing up there, you want to go to maybe you want to go to Schweitzer and go snow skiing in the winter, well, that's only about an hour and 10-minute drive. An easy drive to Boise is only 6 hours and 31 minutes. But if you want a closer drive to a really big city, you can be to Seattle. Google Maps says 4 hours and 8 minutes. It's a 5-hour drive because you're going to get traffic no matter what. That's just what you have in Seattle. But what you don't have a lot of in the Valley is a lot of traffic. Rush hour on I-90, it's not horrible. I get on I-90 all the time to go to the gym right at 5 p.m. And if it's a rush hour day, I have to add about 10 or 12 minutes to my 30-minute commute from North Spokane to the Valley to my office or to the gym. And in town and stuff, traffic, if you're coming from a bigger city where you have real traffic, you'll laugh at what little traffic we have. If you've been here your whole life, you'll probably leave comments down below that I don't know what I'm talking about. The traffic here is horrible. And certainly if you compare it to years ago, it's certainly a lot more. But again, like I said, comparing it to the bigger cities like Seattle and Denver, we are not in that nightmare scenario of traffic. You will just be amazed at how reasonable the traffic is here and how at major intersections, the left hand turn signals really stay green long enough to unload the whole amount of traffic waiting for that left turn lane. It's so obvious. You live in these bigger cities. I remember living in Denver, and I was in the city, and there would be left-hand turn lights on signals that you would have to wait 2 or 3 cycles of the light to get all the cars through. So you sit there, wait 2 or 3 cycles of a red light. Why they don't just leave it on long enough to unload the corridor and get everyone through the red light, I don't know. Here in Spokane and in the valley, you're going to see red turn lanes. You're going to unload at those lights. Sorry about getting off on that. So the city of Spokane Valley was actually incorporated on March 31st, 2003. The city, formed combining the urbanized, unincorporated areas east of the city of Spokane. And they took them 4 tries. They had an election 4 different times. No one, they were fighting over it. A lot of people didn't want to become a city because they knew their services would cost more, their taxes would go up, maybe lose some of their rights, I think. Who knows? Who knows what would happen if they didn't do it, but they did. So they did. Now it's big. Spokane Valley is, let's look at the census. It's about 102, 105,000 people. I mean, that goes up and down literally every day, but it's growing a lot. And so looking here on the map right here, you guys, this is the terrain view on Google Maps of what the terrain looks like. And you can see why it's called a valley here is because we have this river, the Spokane River, coming from Lake Coeur d'Alene, comes and cuts right through here. I imagine thousands of years ago, this was probably a bigger corridor of water coming through here because this is the valley right here. The valley, that's it. You have mountains down below here, big conservation area right over here, Washington, Idaho. This big mountainy area behind Liberty Lake. And then up here again, it's big mountainy areas up in here north of the valley. And even in this housing area north of Spokane Valley in here, it's going to be pretty hilly. You're going to be going up in elevation a little bit up in here. So this really is the valley for the river cutting through the middle right here. And the valley's not huge. It's only 37.77 square miles. And 0.29 square miles of that is water, which means just the river in the middle. There's no real lakes or anything that you would to speak of within Spokane Valley, natural lakes or anything like that. So it's land, though we are surrounded by 60 boatable lakes within 60 minutes of downtown Spokane. So if you're interested in water stuff, the lakes here are incredible. Not only just in Washington, but Coeur d'Alene in Idaho, Lake Hayden up in Hayden, Idaho, and then all the lakes, Liberty Lake and the other lakes right here and near the valley are great fishing, great recreation, great lakes. Actually, there's a lot of water stuff. So let's look at some third-party sources of what they say about Spokane. Right here is niche. I call it niche. That's the word. Let's just say it right. Niche.com. Public schools, they give it a B. Housing, they give it a C+. Right here, B, good for this group. C, crime and safety, nightlife, an A-, and B for diversity. So public schools, I've heard, I don't have kids in the valley, but I've heard the Central Valley School District is excellent. Housing is a C+. That's probably due to the rapid increase in pricing and affordability for the local residents because a lot of people moving in have more income. So I can see that getting a C for local housing. Crime and safety, I'm not going to get into any numbers on that, but everyone knows Spokane, we have a lot of property crime here, a lot of car break-ins, that sort of thing. This right here, Spokane Valley rankings, it's number 56 out of 183 for best suburbs for young professionals in Washington. Number 87 out of 183, best suburbs to live in Washington, and the best places to retire in Washington. I got a 99. Here's the age statistics on how the valley breaks down for the age group. It's not an old town. It's not a very young town. It's just kind of a little bit of everybody. I don't know how accurate this is, that the median household income is $56,000. I heard it went up. I was doing other research on housing values and how incomes are actually increasing greater than people realize. So I think this is an older number with inflation that's going on right now in 2022. I think actually what this number jumped up to is $68,000. And here's just a comment on this niche.com. This person gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Overall, a great area. I feel safe to go out shopping with my children. The weather is great. The hiking trails and the biking trails has easy access, and I feel safe to go enjoy the great outdoors. Absolutely. You guys, the great outdoors is super accessible anywhere in Spokane or Spokane Valley. You also have the Centennial Trail that runs along the river, and that starts up in 9 Mile in North Spokane, way up here where my mouse, if you can see it. And that runs, it's paved. It's a paved trail, no motorcycles, but you can have electric bikes, anything that's non-motorized, and walking, obviously, and all that. Running, you see a lot of people. And that is like 30-some, almost 40 miles. It goes from here all the way into Idaho, and it continues in Idaho another 28 miles, I think. But it's a great paved trail that goes all along the Spokane River, right up through here, through Spokane Valley. Now, here's a parks map in the valley. You've got a number of parks right here. Green Acres Park. You've got Sullivan Park up there, Dishman Park, lots of children's equipment in these areas. You can see that. Edgecliff Park. Down below, down south here, you have Browns Park. And then you've got Castle Park up here. And the real gem in the valley is going to be Discovery Playground up north right here by the YMCA. And then Marabou Springs Park right up there also. And here's some video and shots that I took of Marabou Springs Park. Now here's the map of the Central Valley School District. So it goes all the way past just the city of Spokane Valley into Liberty Lake. You have Liberty Creek Elementary School and Liberty Lake Elementary School up here. You've got Ridgeline High School, Selkirk Middle School up here, Green Acres Middle School, Green Acres Elementary, and then Riverbend up here, Elementary. And then Central Valley High School is going to be right here. And then Progress Elementary, Adams and Evergreen and Sunrise are down here. And then over on this left side, you're going to have University High School is over here. Ponderosa Elementary School, Horizon Middle School, Bodish, Opportunity, McDonald, and University up here. So that's the Central Valley School District in the Valley. And I just on personal opinion, I've heard great things about the Central Valley School District. When we were looking at actually moving 4 school districts, it was one of our big considerations was moving the Central Valley School District. Now, one thing the Valley has that's really good is shopping. I mean, if you want big box retailers, all of that kind of stuff, you're going to find more of that in the Valley than you will in Spokane. You're going to have basically all your big things. Walmart, you used to have Toys R Us when that was actually here. Targets, you have that in Spokane too. But it seems like in the Valley, the Valley's laid out differently. There's no downtown core to the Valley at all. So you've basically got housing, and then you've got shopping, and then commercial and industrial. You have a really big mall right in the middle of Spokane Valley, right off of the freeway. That was sort of that shopping core, and then it built around that. You've got other shopping that's going to be, all your restaurants, fast food, all near the mall. What you wouldn't find in the Valley would be the really unique boutique shopping. You might find more of that in Spokane. But again, if you're looking, the Valley is the kind of place that, like a lot of places like North Spokane, the Valley, you never really have to leave the Valley much to go shopping. You don't. But if you wanted some other swankier fun shopping, you might be headed to downtown Coeur d'Alene, which I showed you on the map is a really quick jump to get to downtown Coeur d'Alene for other really cool restaurants. Liberty Lake, you've got some restaurants in Liberty Lake also. So, and again, with the traffic being as light as it is, you can be like around town super quick, so you don't have to worry about being in really bad traffic. I will say though, I'm not an expert on public transportation, but the Valley is going to be a lot like Spokane, and it's pretty woeful, pretty lacking in public transportation. I mean, it's there, you can get around for sure, but it's not very robust, so it's going to take you quite a while to get around town. If you're commuting around on the bus, you have to add a lot of extra time. So unfortunately in this area, there's public transportation, but it is a little bit lacking. And looking here at the cost of living in Spokane Valley, overall, compared to the national average, they're saying it's 7% higher. Housing is 11% higher. Utilities are 1% higher than the national average. Groceries 3%. Transportation 10%, probably because it's very inadequate public transportation, so you're going to be driving everywhere. Now, these numbers here look pretty close to what I experienced. The median home price is always changing. It's a little higher in the valley than it is in Spokane. When they pulled this, it was $441. The median rent was $1350. That certainly sounds about right. Phone bill at $190. Energy bills right here at $173. Gas at $4.81 a gallon. That is exactly what we're doing right now for gas, you guys. I don't know in your town if it's a little cheaper to get gas over in Idaho. Just saying. I'm not sure about the healthcare costs down here. I wouldn't trust that. I have no idea about that. But the top ones right here, I can say these are accurate for what I experienced. If you have any questions about real estate here in Spokane Valley, Spokane in general, or anywhere in the Inland Empire, feel free to reach out to me anytime. Here's my contact information right here. Send me a text, send me an email, give me a call, and I'd love to help you guys out. Anyway, I have more videos coming up about other towns just like this one in this area, so go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this content, or check out my channel for my market reports I'm doing every Monday morning, going over the stats of what's going on in our market every week right now in Spokane Valley, Liberty Lake, the whole area. I hope that helps you guys, and I hope you enjoy my channel. Thanks.